What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Dominic Rich, and I'm gonna do something a little different, starting from, well, let's say last match day 12, the midweek fixtures. Now match day 13, the weekend fixtures. I'm gonna start actually doing some shorter versions of these predictions to see how you guys respond to them and how you guys like them, because I've been doing a lot of live streams and you guys have not really been showing up for the live streams, whether it's because of the time difference or the videos are too long or you're just not interested. I'm going to do something different. Okay. So here I am. And this is match week 13, the predictions. I already did a review of match week 12. It was a bit late, but at least I got it out. And the same for this match week 13 predictions. It's a bit late, but I just want to have some continuity and get it out there as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. Let's have some fun. Please leave your predictions down below. All right, what we're going to do is let's just take a quick recap of what happened on the last match day, touch on some, leaderboards and get into the content. So, on the last match day, Fulham defeated Aston Villa 3-0. Leicester defeated Leeds 2-0. Bournemouth lost at home to Southampton 1-0, while Brentford and Chelsea played to a 0-0 draw. Liverpool defeated West Ham 1-0. Newcastle did the same against Everton, while Man United defeated Spurs 2-0. Brighton and Nottingham Forest played to a 0-0 draw, while Crystal Palace picked up a 2-1 win over Wolverhampton Wanderers. Man City and Arsenal were supposed to play this week, but the game was actually postponed. Arsenal took on PSV in the Europa League and ramped to a 1-0 win. So in terms of some stats, real quick stats there, guys, you could see Erling Haaland on top the goal scoring charts with 15 goals, Harry Kane second with 9, Alexander Mitrovic and Ivan Toney with 8 apiece, while Roberto Firmino and Phil Foden has 6. Miguel Almiron climbing up the charts with 5 there as well. In terms of the assist charts, Kevin De Bruyne with 9, Bernardo and Saka with 4, Firmino, Jesus, Foden, Erling Haaland, Jack Harrison, Rodri, and Alex Iwobi with 3. Nick Pope leads the clean sheets chart with 5, while Edison has 5 as well, Allison 4, and a bunch of other goalkeepers with 4 as well, including Allison, De Gea, Lloris, Ramsdale, Raya, Sanchez, Arrizabalaga, no, Chelsea's preferred number 1 with 3. So, what we're gonna do really quick, guys, is I'm actually gonna do something that I haven't done before, right? A different format, right? But what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna run through some news highlights before I actually get into the predictions, and enjoy that lovely picture of Darwin Núñez while I run through some quick news updates. All right, I have them written down. It won't be super long. I just want to share this with you, and so you could be abreast with what's going on. So in terms of West Ham, Bournemouth, and Forest, I don't have anything new for you. But for Wolves were interested in making QPR's Michael Beale their manager, but he decided to stay and work on the project over there, while Steve Davis will actually remain in charge until the end of 2022. Well, they said 2023. So maybe early 2023, they'll look into appointing a new manager. So for Leicester, Leeds, and Crystal Palace, no news updates. But for Newcastle, Alexander Isak has been ruled out until after the World Cup. And Newcastle signed teenage winger Amadou Diallo, who's 19 years old, formerly of West Ham United. He joins the under 21 team. All right, we got more. We got more as I turn the pages. Everton, Southampton, and Brighton. No news updates. Nothing notable to share. But Aston Villa can confirm that they have sacked head coach Steven Gerrard with immediate effect, and Villa's new manager search begins. More to follow on that. Names like Pochettino and Tuchel were thrown in the hat, but those managers declined to take the job. Let's see who would actually be the top candidate. Steven Gerrard actually had a 32% win rate, which is lower than Gary Neville's win rate at Valencia, which was 35%. So I want to say personally, I want to actually say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to Aston Villa for actually, well, let me find a word. Let me find the right word. Capitulating in that after they went what was that 2-0 up and actually lost the game 3-2. So Thank you very much there, Aston Villa. I do appreciate it. So, look, in terms of Douglas Luiz, he will be available for the Brentford game as a claim for wrongful dismissal was actually upheld by the FA Regulatory Commission. So let's just get back to that lovely picture there. So it's not a big focus on myself. So Douglas Luiz, after he was involved in that little spat with Alexander Mitrovic, was deemed not to be a red card after all. And I thought there was something fishy about that. Mitrovic was actually overreacting, in my opinion. Brentford, Liverpool, Fulham, nothing to really update you on. While for Man City, they actually are the Ballon d'Or's Club of the Year. So congratulations to Manchester City there on picking up that award. It's no big deal to me, anyways. It's very subjective on who's actually going to win an award like that. So, in other news for Man City, their bus was actually attacked while leaving Anfield. I was at Anfield on the day and I didn't see it. I didn't hear anything about it until today. So, I guess I've been a bit jet lagged and not been, catching up with the news. For Man United, they actually looking to appoint Edwin van der Sar as their director of football, while Cristiano Ronaldo has been dropped for the Chelsea game after leaving the pitch early against Spurs, after refusing to come on as a late substitute, left the stadium as well. He put out a statement on his Instagram and he actually, sort of apologetic and everything. He never said sorry in the statement, but he put out a statement. He served his ban from the team and then he said he'll be back. Nothing on Chelsea, Tottenham, but for Arsenal, Gabriel Magalhaes actually put pen to paper when it comes to a new deal. So look, let's get into the predictions, guys. You see, 7 minutes, a nice little introduction for you guys, catch up with some major news. And let's get into these matches. Guys, I don't plan to be super long. I'm trying out something fresh. So let's just get to the fixtures right here. And we're going to go through each and every one of these games. So let's start with Everton versus Crystal Palace there. Where is that at? Where's that at? Everton versus Crystal Palace. It's right here. We're going to get a little visual on that game. And we won't be too long-winded, but we just run through a few things. So for Everton versus Crystal Palace, Everton's last game was a 1-0 loss to Newcastle, while Crystal Palace defeated Wolves 2-0. In terms of the last meeting last season, Everton defeated Palace at home 3-2, while Crystal Palace defeated Everton at their stadium 4-0. So in terms of some injury updates for those clubs, Palace, Nathaniel Klein, Chris Richards, Jack Butland, James MacArthur ruled out. Nathan Ferguson still recovering from injury as well there. And that's pretty much it. Will Hughes is now fit again after a bout of illness. So he'll be available. Or maybe not. But for Everton, they're also dealing with some injury problems, while Ben Godfrey, Andros Townsend, and Yerry Mina ruled out, while Nathan Patterson 50% on track to recovery, but he should miss the game there as well. So, look, I don't want to be too long-winded, and I'll get into the predictions. Everton, they need results. They've been, leaking a lot of goals. They haven't been picking up any points in their last 3 games. And with that being said, I think at home at Goodison Park, against a team like Palace, who I think is very mercurial, they hot and cold when they're ready, I think Everton could actually get a result here, but I think Lampard has to be very careful with his team selection. He's been, tinkering a bit, bringing in, guys like Neil Maupay. I think needs another outing. Dominic Calvert-Lewin pushed back into the team. Neil and Gordon and these guys have been rotating. So I think he needs to really make up his mind on who he wants to start and get the best out of his players there. Crystal Palace, they've been in very, very good form. They're coming off of a brilliant, brilliant win there against Wolves, come from behind. They're 11, 2 wins in their last, let's say, 5 games and 2 draws, only 1 loss. So they've been looking very, very good. They've been looking good. And they're a very difficult team to play against, where they would pop up and they would actually, surprise you on the day, or there would be a day they would capitulate, start well and capitulate. But for this game, just to make a long story short, I'm gonna go for a draw. I think Everton's gonna be a bit gritty here, even with the threat of Zaha and Olise, guys like Eze, Edward up top. I think, Everton are going to grind themselves out a 1-1 draw, and that's going to be my prediction for this game. So, look, in terms of 11th place Crystal Palace, they have 13 points. Their next game will be against Southampton coming up next Saturday. As for Everton, they are currently struggling a bit, 15th with 10 points, 3 losses in their last three. The next game will be against Fulham. Very, very informed Fulham there as well. So 1-1 is my prediction, guys. We're going to keep it moving. So in terms of the next game, let's talk Wolves Leicester. That one is actually a Midlands derby, and let's share thoughts on that and get that one out the way. So you could see a little bit of head to head there. I won't be getting into that. Was actually doing that during the live streams, and I won't be getting too deep into that right there. Crystal Palace 2, Wolves 1 in their last game. Leicester 2, Leeds United 0. So in terms of the last time these two teams met, let's just take a look at the fixtures last season there. I should have actually had that pulled up, but of course, I didn't. I didn't have it pulled up. Yeah, that's the thing about when you're live and when you're not live, you could take your time and have everything, pulling up as you talk. But, so look, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Leicester. Wolves will be at home. And in terms of the last meeting between the two clubs, Wolves picked up a 2-1 win. And last season, Leicester also won their home game. So that's how it's been. But Wolves only have 2 wins across the last 10 in all competition against Leicester. So look, just to touch on some injury problems for both teams. Wolves are dealing with an injury issue, 6 injuries. So they do have new player out injured is Totti Gomez. He's been slotting in at, center back. Also, Chiquinho, he's been out all season. Ryan Nori is fit again. The little problem, there's some illness. Raul Jimenez, of course, ruled out Sasha Kaladzic and Pedro Neto. All 3 players long term. So Wolves would have to really tap into their squad if they are to start picking up some good results. Inter manager Steve Davis really got his work cut out for him. So for Leicester, coming off of a win, they will be high on confidence. They have 7 listed on the injury problems. A few of them are recoveries, but in terms of ruled out, there's Brian Bertrand, Chagla Soyanchu, Wilfred Ndidi, and Ricardo Pereira, while Johnny Evans is actually 50% there. James Maddison should be back from suspension, and Mark Albrighton also recovering from injury. So with that being said, guys, my prediction for this one, with Wolves struggling, Leicester buoyant, I'm actually going to go for Leicester to pick up a 2-1 win in this game. I feel it for Wolves, but they just can't seem to put together a string of very consistent performances. They don't score enough goals. And for Leicester, I just see them with a new spring in their step, and I think they're going to use that to the best of their advantage and pick up a win on the road there. So 2-1 to Leicester is my prediction. So in terms of the next games, Leicester are currently 19th. Remember, both teams are in the relegation zone, so anyone who picks up a win here would be massive for the team. A draw won't be too good for either of the team, but points are points. But I'm going to go for Leicester to win this. Leicester 19th, 8 points. And if they win the game, they'll go above Wolverhampton Wanderers. Their next game will be against Manchester City at the King Power, 29th of October. They love playing against Manchester City, and let's see how they fare. So for Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are 18th in the league, 9 points after 11 games, their next game is against Brentford. So with that being said, guys, we are definitely going to keep it moving. Please let me know your predictions in the chat. So the next game we have coming up is the match between Aston Villa and Brentford. So let's just pull that up right there. Aston Villa, the first game without Steven Gerrard this season. Well, since he was appointed after the sacking of Dean Smith, it's fair to say that Steven Gerrard did not last too long at all. Not at all. Not at all. And, you know, I often say that his tenure has been overshadowed by his, let's say, his legendary status in the Premier League. You know what I mean? We tend to look past that and forget that Gerrard is actually doing nothing at Aston Villa. He was actually not doing too well. So, look, Brentford coming off of a draw against Chelsea, that's a massive result. Aston Villa, a big loss to Fulham, the sacking of Steven Gerrard as well. You know, they're not in a good space right about now, man. They're really, really, really not. So in terms of some injury problems here for both teams, for Aston Villa, they they have four players dealing with injuries. Boubacar Kamara, we know of him. He'll miss the World Cup. Luka Dean, he's been struggling for a while as well. Ludwig Augustinson on loan from Sevilla, and Diego Carlos been injured for since early in the season. I don't know if, I think the absence of Diego Carlos actually, hurt the team because Tyrone Mings is absolute garbage, if you ask me. He has his moments, but he's way too inconsistent, man. Very, very inconsistent. For Brentford, they have four players ruled out as well: Pontus Janssen, Thomas Strakosha, Aaron Hickey, and Christian Norgard. With that being said, guys, my prediction for this game: Brentford 3, Aston Villa 1. Yeah, I'm going to go for Aston Villa to keep sliding down the table and Brentford to keep surging, even though Brentford are a team that I did predict to get relegated in their second ever Premier League season. But, they have a very good record against Aston Villa there with one win and a draw. That's actually what went down last season. I actually forgot to mention that, but that's actually the format I used in the live stream. And I'm still figuring things out when it comes to these quick fire videos, 25 to 30 minutes. I'm trying to get these done in. So 2-1 to Brentford last season at the Brentford Community Stadium. That's what it's called, right? And a 1-1 at Villa Park. And when they met in the championship, they were doing very, very well against Villa as well. So Brentford, they haven't lost to Villa in their last 10 matches in all competitions, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I think that was a solid prediction that I made there. So with that being said, look, man, Ivan Toney, he has been on fire. And, the players around him has just been supporting him very well. I think other players need to step up and score goals to help the team. But Ivan Toney has been the focal point. David Ryan goal, massive as well. And kudos to the manager, Thomas Frank, about to sign a new deal, I think. Very, very good tactician. So Aaron Danks is actually currently in charge of Aston Villa while they hunt for a new manager. So 3-1 to Brentford. In my opinion, they've looked solid all across the field. And most importantly, they've been scoring a lot of goals. So look, for Aston Villa, they're 17th, 9 points. Their next game coming up is against Newcastle United, and they're playing some good football. Brentford, 10th, top half of the table, 14 points. Their next game will be against Wolves, the struggling Wolves. So that looks good for Brentford as well. So let us definitely keep it moving, guys. Please share your prediction in the chat, and we're going to keep it moving. So Leeds, the next game versus FC Fulham. This is a massive game because Fulham newly promoted. Leeds are struggling on the newish manager, Jesse Marsch. He needs a big, big, big game here. 3 points, 1 point will do, but a loss would definitely not bode well for their confidence at all and for his job security, if you ask me. So, look, last game, Leicester 2, Leeds 0, Fulham 3, Aston Villa 0. The last time these two teams met, they actually met in the third round of the Carabao Cup, where Fulham actually lost that game, where Leeds won 6-5 on pens. It was hosted by Fulham. And the last 4 meetings in all competitions have been won by Leeds United. Even the last Premier League meeting in the 2020-21 season. 4-3, high scoring affair, and 2-1. Both wins for Leeds. So they've only lost twice in their last 10 against Fulham. So very, very good record, I have to say. Indeed. And in terms of the injury list for Leeds, look, we know they have a lot of players recovering, but Stuart Dallas, Adam Forshaw, and Leo Hilder remain out, while Archie Gray and Pascal Strike are recovering from injuries. As for FC Fulham, they also have a few injury problems of their own. Mano Salaman, Newman, Livin Kozawa, and Daniel James all, well, Daniel James is a Leeds player, so he can't play, so he's there on loan. But Kozawa and Solomon ruled out, and Nathaniel Chalobah, he should be back from his red card suspension there as well. Kenny Tete is also down for this match. So look, in terms of my prediction, man, listen, man, Leeds have been all over the place. Started the season well, but the form has really nosedived as of late. But look, seeing that they need a big result, and Fulham, our team, they can get something against if they manage to deal with Alexander Mitrovic. I think this game is going to end in a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be a very scrappy game, and Leeds are going to grind themselves to a draw. Listen, they better hope I'm right, because they've been dropping a lot of points. They've been shipping a lot of goals, and they need points badly. When I say badly, they need them badly. They're sliding down the table, have not won any game in the last 5, and it probably stretches further than that. So, look, other than the early points they picked up, they've been really, really, really poor, as of late. So 16th in the table for Leeds United. After the Fulham match, they face Liverpool at Anfield. Oh, man. Oh, that's going to be a stern test. So 1-1 draw for FC Fulham, who are in the top 10, ninth with 15 points. Their next game will be against the struggling Everton. We're going to keep it moving, guys. We move into the 5th game. Ooh, we're doing well. West Ham versus Bournemouth coming up next Monday. You get a little head-to-head action right there on the screen. But for West Ham, their last game was a 1-0 loss to Liverpool at Anfield. They had opportunities, but they failed to take them. As for Bournemouth, also 1-0 loss at home to Southampton. Look, in terms of the last time these two teams met, West Ham defeated Bournemouth 4-0, and the other match at the Vitality Stadium ended in a 2-2 draw. So West Ham, they've done well the last time they met Bournemouth in the league, which was 1920, but they don't have a very good record across the last 10 against the Cherries, where they've lost 4 times and they've drawn 3. So Bournemouth, even though they're coming off of a loss, they were the most informed team, one of the most informed teams in the league up until last midweek. They would look to bounce back here. But look, I think West Ham are going to be a little bit too much for Bournemouth. I'm going to go for 2-1 to the Hammers. They got to get their selection right, though I think they've been, getting a few things wrong in terms of, I think the last game Flynn Down started, where I think Lanzini could have easily slotted in there and give West Ham a bit more quality. But that's just my thoughts. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? I think they were a bit, too generous at the back against Liverpool, allowed them to get back there and do their thing. So they have to tighten up. Tilo Kehrer, too much mistakes in this guy, man. You know what I mean? Came over from PSG for big money, the German, still settling in, still finding it very, very tough in the league. But look, I'm going for West Ham to win this game 2-1. Bournemouth has to continue to be gritty. If they manage to keep the goals out, they'll score. We don't know where the goals are going to come from. That they come randomly, but they could get something from the game. But I'm going for West Ham 2, Bournemouth 1. David Moyes and his team continue to surge upwards. So we are going to keep it moving. But before we do, guys, let's just touch on who these teams play next. For West Ham, 13th, 11 points. Their next game will be in the Europa League against Silkeborg, the Europa Conference League, pardon me, against Silkeborg. And then they face Man United at Old Trafford on the weekend. Massive, massive, massive game. As for Bournemouth, who drop out of the top 10, they are 12th with 13 points. And their next game will be against Spurs. So massive, massive games coming up against two London juggernauts here. So look, let me know your predictions in the chat, guys. Mine is 2-1 to West Ham United. So we're going to move on to the sixth game, guys. And that game is Tottenham versus Newcastle. How are we doing in time? 25 minutes. Okay, we're not doing too bad. We're not doing too bad. We need to, get a move on though. But we're gonna talk about Tottenham versus Newcastle here. Before I get into this, man, I gotta say big up to Bruno Guimaraes. He has been massive for Newcastle United, and he's been their driving force in the midfield, especially in the absence of Alain Saint-Maximin. Look, Spurs 0, Man United 2 in their last game, Newcastle 1, Everton 0. In terms of the last meeting between the two teams, Spurs did beat Newcastle 5-1 the last time they met at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last season, and at over up on Tyneside, I should say, they at St. James's Park. I'm running a blank on the stadium there. Newcastle lost 2-3 to Spurs. That was a very, very, very close game. So look, in terms of some injury updates for Newcastle, they do have quite a list. Alexander Isak, Carl Darlow, Emil Kraft, Matt Ritchie all out, while Joel Linton is struggling with a bit of injury along with Alain Saint-Maximin. In terms of Spurs, not much on the injury list, but Emerson Royal returns from suspension, while Dejan Kulusevski and Richarlison are both ruled out. So that's not looking good. I think Lucas Moura is now fit again. He might actually get some game time, maybe or maybe not. So look, in terms of the prediction here for this one, guys, Tottenham, they do have firepower. Son, Kane, Perisic on the wings. Hybe has been filling in with the goals as of late. But, I just think there's an inconsistency problem with Tottenham, man. That's just the thing. They tend to allow the opponent to play with the ball and do their thing and try to break on a counter. But that doesn't always work, man. And I think they were rather toothless against Manchester United and need a massive result against Newcastle. I think that's the only thing that works against Newcastle here, seeing that Spurs do have to respond. This game got a draw written all over it, but with Newcastle playing so well, Miguel Almiron in form, Callum Wilson, Jacob Murphy, along with the likes of Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Willock, the defense of Botman, Shaw. These guys are solid. And Nick Pope in goal. I'm actually going to go for a different kind of result here. And I'm going to say Eddie Howe's Newcastle United pick up a shock win. A shock win as it'll be a shock win against Spurs. Antonio Conte and Spurs, 2-1. Spurs have been all over the place. Lloris has been very, very busy at the back there. And I think that's a solid prediction. 2-1 to Newcastle United, guys. Share yours down below. We're going to keep it moving. And in terms of the next game, Spurs are third, 23 points after 11 matches. Their next game will be against Sporting CP in the Champions League, followed by Bournemouth in the Prem de la Prem. As for Newcastle United, who are 6 these days, 18 points. Wow. Their next match will be against the struggling Aston Villa next Saturday. So with that being said, guys, we're going to keep it moving. Let's move on to the 7th game, and that's Southampton versus the league leaders, Arsenal. We're doing well, right? We're doing well. Southampton 1, Bournemouth 0. That was a road game for Southampton. Arsenal 1, PSV Eindhoven 0 in their Europa League affair. So in terms of the last time these two teams met, I think I'll take this little time to take a sip. Refreshing. So Southampton, Arsenal, the last meeting between these two teams ended in a 1-0 win for Southampton. Arsenal actually won their home game 3-0. Southampton has 3 wins in their last 10 in all competitions and 2 draws against Arsenal. So not a bad record at all. Mikel Arteta, I almost said Miguel Almiron. I don't know why, Miggy the Piggy Almiron. So Mikel Arteta versus Ralph Hasenhuttl there. Hasenhuttl should be on a high coming off of that win, much needed win, hitting the pressure relief valve there. And Mikel Arteta, come on, man. He's outlasted Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Lampard at Chelsea, and Gerrard at Aston Villa. And look, he could lap Lampard too if he gets sacked over at Everton. So big up to Mikel Arteta. He's doing a goddamn thing. So Arsenal flying high in very unfriendly skies, I must say. And it's hard not to predict them to win. They've been on fire, man. Martinelli, Odegaard, Jesus, Saka, these guys, man. Xhaka and Partey in the midfield. Aaron Ramsdale in goal. Saliba and Gabriel, Ben White, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, Tierney. All these guys deserve a shout, man. And look, and let me not get carried away. Southampton, their injury problems. Valentino Livramento out. Armel Bella Kochap out. Romeo Lavia should still be out, missed this game. Ainsley Maitland-Niles can face his parent club Arsenal, while Kyle Walker-Peters is a doubt and might actually miss this game. I think there's too many players, too many key players out. And for the Gunners, they've actually, look a lot better in terms of injury, while it's only Emil Smith-Rowe and El Neni out, while Saka, slight doubt for the game, but he should pass the fitness test, in my opinion, and Zinchenko recovering from injury. Look, with that being said, Arsenal have been imperious. They look like the real thing this season, and it's up to them, man. It's up to them. You see what I mean? It is up to them if they actually want to get back to their glory days and win a title, or even put up a fight against the likes of Manchester City, Spurs, Chelsea, whoever it may be that'll be in the title race. So with that being said, I know Southampton, hit the relief valve in the last game against Bournemouth, but I'm going to go for Arsenal to win this game 2-0 and continue their dominance in the Prem de la Prem. So, look, with that being said, the Gunners are on top of the table. Their next game will be against PSV next week, followed by a home game to Nottingham Forest. They might actually go on to win both matches. As for Southampton, they're 14th, 11 points. Oh, I did forget to mention Arsenal are first with 27 points, okay? So Southampton are 14th with 11 points. Their next game will be against Crystal Palace. Guys, let's keep it moving, man. Let us definitely do that. We got 3 matches to talk about. We're doing well. We don't want to slip and fall here. And we've gone 33 minutes, so it might be a little 40-minute video. I've been a little long-winded, right? I should have been wrapped up already, right? So Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool. This will be an away game for Liverpool. The last 2 Premier League games were home, which they won. And that was against West Ham and Manchester City. Nottingham Forest managed to pick up a draw in their last one against Brighton and Hove Albion. So in terms of Forest versus Liverpool, guys, this will be the first ever meeting in, well, not in the Premier League, but since they're, Forest got back in the Premier League, of course. But in terms of the last time these 2 teams met was actually in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup that Liverpool went on to win last season, where they won the game 1-0. And before that, it was 1999 back in the Premier League where that game ended in a draw. Forest's last win against Liverpool, you got to go back to a 1-0 win at home in 1996. So, look, Liverpool's going into this game as clear favorites. And in terms of the injury situation, Luis Diaz out, Joel Matip, Naby Keita, Ibrahima Konate should miss this game as well, while Arthur Melo and Diego Jota are all ruled out, while Darwin Nunez would have to be subject to a late fitness test. As for Nottingham Forest, though, 6 players, on the list. Let me see: Omar Richards, Jack Colback, Lewis O'Brien, Musania Kate, all out, while Harry Toffolo and Renan Lodi are doubtful for this game. Listen, man, prediction, man. Listen, Liverpool should not get nothing less than a win from this match, to be completely honest. If they do get anything less, it will be an absolutely poor and shambolic result. I'm going for Liverpool to win the game 2-0 to continue their momentum. They do have a lot of firepower in their team. The squad is deep. If Luis Diaz, Jota, and even Darwin Núñez is not available, Firmino, Salah, Carvalho, Elliott, Curtis Jones now fit again, Oxley, Chamberlain fit again, Milner, Thiago, Fabinho. They have cover. They got cover. If they want to play Simicas as a winger and play Andy Robertson as a left back, they could. They have options. Okay? So I don't think Forest should pose a threat at all. If they do, it will be a hell of a performance and it'll be a hell of a result. So Steve Cooper, he's in a bit of a mess. They're in the mud. But a good result in the last game. They're still in the relegation zone. Are they going to get out after this weekend? No. Liverpool 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Liverpool continue to surge upwards, continue to put pressure on the likes of Manchester United, Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham, and even Manchester City. You got to, if they win that game, they'll go up to 19 points, and they really put in some pressure on the top 4. Forest, it's a struggle for survival. That's the best way I could put it. So for Liverpool, 7th, 16 points. Their next game will be in the Champions League against Ajax. That's a road game followed by a home game against Leeds United. As for the struggling Forest, 20th in the league, bottom of the table. They do have 2 draws in their last 5. Positivity. Their next game will be against Arsenal. So you play Liverpool, you play Arsenal. Ooh, that's a tough running. Very, very tough running if you ask me. So we're going to move on to the next game. And with that being said, my team, the mighty Manchester City, guys, where I went and visited the Etihad Stadium for the first time in my life. I saw City played for the first time in my life. Very, very, emotional time. We lost the game, however, and this will be the first time I'm watching the team after seeing them live in the flesh. So, Man City versus Brighton. City's last game, a 1-0 loss to Liverpool. Brighton and Forest played to a 0-0 draw. As for the last time these two teams met, it was a 3-0 win for City and a 4-1 win as well last season. Brighton have, however, managed to pick up a win in the 2020-21 season, 3-2 at home. This would be a game at the Etihad, and the results are not very good at the Etihad for Brighton. 5 games, 5 Man City wins. All-time Premier League matches, 10 games, 9 City wins with that loss, the only blip on their record. So De Zerbi, is he going to stay winless? Most likely. Listen, Manchester City are coming back with a vengeance here after that loss to Liverpool. Brighton, very unfortunate to be the team that, are running into Manchester City. John Stones, Calvin Phillips, and Kyle Walker should remain out, while Stones is the closest to return to full fitness. While for Brighton and Hove Albion, Jakob Moda, Kararu Mitoma, Enoch Mwipu actually retired, and Levi Colwill is a doubt, but he has not been featuring at all. So, look, it's going to be a tough game for Brighton. Another test. We know they have some talismanic players like Leandro Trossard and Pascal Gross, but Danny Welbeck has been struggling a lot this season. Robert Sanchez, I think, is a bit too casual. I think Graham Potter, if he was in charge, maybe something would have happened here. Maybe they could have got something. Maybe I shouldn't get carried away at all. But look, I think it's the wrong time to play Manchester City. Erling Haaland would want to come back after that, barren game against Liverpool. Kevin De Bruyne would want to do his thing. Foden, all these guys, they're out for blood. and I think this is a wrong time to run into City. Pep Guardiola as well. 3-0 to Manchester City is my prediction. Guys, let me know yours down in the chat. And the boy wakes up. Come on, baby. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. We only got one more. We got one more to do. I told you guys I went on a bit too long. You know what I'm saying? My boy Liam was sleeping for a nice little 50 minutes there, and I pushed it. So City, second in the league with 23 points. Our next game will be against Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League, and then followed by an away game at the King Power against Leicester City. So I am confident that we will win the match. Hopefully an Erling Haaland hat trick. My 11. Let me just give my 11 really quick. Sergio Gomez should start at left back. Young 21-year-old. He's not gonna feature in the Champions League game. He was suspended. Let's get Laporte on. Let's get him some game time. Ruben Diaz, João Cancelo at right back. Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, Grealish at left wing, Haaland, and let's go with Bernardo Silva or Phil Foden over on the right. But listen, I don't know what Pep's gonna do, but we need a big performance. Because we can't afford to lose any more games. First match, yeah, we could afford to lose more, but not right now. Not right now at all. Not right now. As for Brighton and Hove Albion, it's still doing well in the league, 8th with 15 points. No wins in the last 4, however. The next game is a clash against Chelsea, a massive, massive game. So, guys, we're going to finish things off, man, with a big one, a huge one. Chelsea versus Manchester United. And oh, man, I can't believe what I put for my prediction. I really, really can't believe. Seriously, man. Ooh. But yeah, let's talk about this one. Brentford 0, Chelsea 0 in the last game. Man United 2, Tottenham 0. Big win for Man United, even though we had some Cristiano Ronaldo controversy there in that game. So, look, Chelsea, Man United. What happened the last time the two teams met each other? 1-1 draw, 1-1 draw, 0-0, 0-0. Inseparable, if you ask me. Chelsea did, however, pull off a 3-1 win in the FA Cup semifinals back in 2020. And then United had a nice little streak of wins there. And Chelsea, oh man, not looking too good against United there, in my opinion, man. Not looking too good. Home Norway. Anyways, guys, I'm having a bit too much fun here. I should have been done with this video though, but I think I give you guys a lot. I really, really give you guys a lot. So Graham Potter versus Eric Ten Hag, brand new managers coming up against each other. United, in terms of the injury list, is very long. Ronaldo suspended for this game by the club, not by the league. Axel Zabi remains out. Mason Greenwood, of course, his situation, legal situation. Brandon Williams, Donny van de Beek has not featured all season, I think. Harry Maguire is close to a full return. Anthony Martial as well. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka is still recovering from injury. While for Chelsea, they have injury problems of their own, but not many. N'Golo Kante, Wesley Fofana, and Reece James all ruled out long-term, while Conor Gallagher is a doubt. So, look, with that being said, man, look, Chelsea have not lost under Graham Potter, right? They haven't. They really, really haven't. But I expected them to do a lot better against Brentford, and they didn't. They really, really didn't. There's some games like the Salzburg game. I expected them to do better. They didn't. And it's like, I don't really know, Graham Potter has definitely steadied the ship. Don't get me wrong. He steadied the ship, right? Since he came in, there's been a 1-1 draw, a 2-1 win over Palace, the 3-0 win over Milan, 3-0 win over Wolves, a 2-0 win over Milan, 2-0 win over Villa, 0-0 against Brentford. So yet to lose, right? Yet to lose. But he's still not, I think, perfected his 11. Well, no 11 is going to be perfect, but you get what I'm trying to say. Get his 11 right. He's been chopping and changing. It's been working to his advantage. I think he got to get the 11 absolutely spot on against Manchester United because, look, Ten Hag knows who he wants to put out there, right? Cristiano Ronaldo is not being chosen. So he knows who he wants to be out there on the field. And if Cristiano Ronaldo is on the bench, you must be doing well to play ahead of him. Anthony, guys like Sancho, Rashford, and Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen should come back into the fray here as well. Casemiro has been playing well, so Lisandro Martinez, David De Gea as usual, Luke Shaw back in the team. Dallo, I think, has really, really stepped up, man. Varane as well. So look, it's going to be difficult to beat this United team. I don't think they're losing. I actually think United are winning this game. It's going to be a high-scoring affair, and I'm going to go for 3-2 for Man United. Chelsea's first loss under Graham Potter, in my opinion. Chelsea could easily win this game at home or easily pick up a draw, but I just have a feeling. I have a feeling it's going to be a good affair, man. Raheem Sterling, Aubameyang, these guys should come back in. I would like to see Pulisic from the start. That would be an interesting factor there. But who's going to be in defense? Is it going to go with Koulibaly, Thiago Silva? You know what I'm saying? Going to be Kepa in goal and not Mendy. No Reece James, so it might be Aspilicueta, Cucurella, or Chilwell. You got to get the 11 right. Jorginho, Loftus. You got to get the team right, in my opinion. I'm going to go for a high-scoring affair, though. United are very mercurial, but I don't know, man. I just have a feeling that they're going to beat Chelsea. So, with that being said, guys, that's my predictions. Guys, let me know yours. I think I'll go forward with this format in the future. 47 minutes is not bad. It's much better than 2.5 hours, man. It takes a lot out of me after having gone to work all day as well. So, look, with that being said, Manchester United 5th in the league, 19 points. Their next game is in the Europa League against Sheriff Tiraspol, followed by a clash on the weekend against West Ham. Chelsea are 4th with 20 points, one place ahead. Their next game is against Red Bull Salzburg in the Champions League, followed by an affair against Brighton. So, guys, thank you for tuning in to yet another one. I'm your boy Dominic Rich. These are my Match Week 13 predictions. I know they're a bit late, but better late than never. I'm getting it done. I'm getting the content out there for you and for those who appreciate it. So subscribe to the channel if you're new. Like the video if you haven't yet done so. You see the challenges I'm going through, man. I have my little son here, hanging out with him. He went to sleep, but he woke up. Got to pick him up so he don't continue crying. He's only 3 years old, guys. Soon turn 4. But yeah. Thanks again for your boy Dom. Until next time, peace out. Rich Squad. Peace. And let me know if I forget any major talking points, man. I think I did a lot. I touched on news. I touched on injuries. I cut out a few things, but I've done, I think I did pretty well. Right? Guys, let me know, man. Let me know.